Dale calavera, mira, mira calavera. 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 Dale calavera.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is me, Irma Ruiz, and we are doing tarot card comedy, and I'm super excited to get started. Actually, we've been doing this for a while already, and I just told my tech guy, I was like, you know what? Just turn on the camera, let's go, because this is just getting too interesting. Today, we have Mr. Thai Rivera. Woo!
What's up, everybody? Thai Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
I was waiting for that. Oh my god, you have no idea. I love that.
It's my thing.
I'm just like in the world. You know, I love you. You saw I was ready for it.
I saw you do that.
Okay, so we're actually here in Las Vegas. We're actually in Bally's. You know, we traveled down here just to interview this guy right here. You know,
Irma has a sick room right now. She has a room that's made for a pimp.
Yes.
Are you gonna be partying
I'm the
here?
pimp
Are
in the home.
you gonna have some hoes over?
I should.
You should. This room is made for it.
Mm-hmm, sure enough. Okay, so before we actually started rolling, we were actually having a pretty good conversation because the whole deal about tarot card comedy is that we use the tarot cards to kind of lead the discussion. Okay, so the cards that we pulled today are going to be, you know, about Thai. And so if y'all see here, my assistant actually made this, and so this is actually made to look like a Ouija board, the tarot card comedy. And actually, before we started rolling, you were going to say something about Ouija boards.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with Ouija boards. I was raised to be afraid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember that movie Witch Board? It's from forever ago.
No.
There was a movie called Witch Board. Tawny Katane was in it. If you remember Tawny Katane, she was from America's Funniest Home Videos.
It sounds real familiar.
She was a hot chick from the 80s, 90s type of thing. And yeah, so there was a scary movie called Witch Board, and it was about the Ouija board. My mom had always raised me like, you're not supposed to mess with the Ouija board and stuff like that. And so, you know, I had a couple experiences in school where we would try to play with it, and it would just always freak me out and stuff like that. So after years of my mother scaring me from it, when I was about 13 or 14 years old, my mom bought me a Ouija board for my birthday.
Eskimos.
Yeah, it made no sense.
Don't do that, but here.
Yeah, and it
don't
was
have sex, but here's some condoms.
It was a really nice one. You know what I mean? It was like red and black, and it didn't look like the traditional kind. It was really nice, but I ended up being so scared of it that I had to get rid of it because it was like, you raised me to be afraid of this all my life.
Oh, I'm afraid.
And now you decide you're going to give me one. So that's my story.
So did you ever play with it or no?
No. I still won't play with them, especially alone.
Yeah.
I just...
Well, I don't think do they work alone? I mean, like they say for some people they do, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, you're supposed to be especially susceptible if you're alone to like something possibly entering you or like you're staying in your space. And I don't have enough with the cards. I'm very used to like having my cards read and stuff like that. I don't have it done all the time, but you know, like I've had my cards read. And then one of the most frustrating situations I had was I was in Shanghai last year, well, before the shutdown, so I guess it was 2019. I was in Shanghai, and this Chinese lady told me she could read my cards, and then I was like, do you speak English? And she was like, oh yeah. Turns out this bitch doesn't speak English. But I have the worst memory in the world, so I forget.
In the world.
Yeah, my memory is terrible. Yeah, it's the worst.
Gosh.
In the world.
You know that. Like that's all I wait for. Like when you're doing your podcast, you know, I'm just like,
yeah.
It is. Okay, next one. I just hear him say
beginning and end. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, youtube.com/Thai Rivera, ThaiRivera.
And he's always got, I mean, he's got one of those podcasts that you can actually like listen to, and like it's interesting. Like sometimes I'll watch people's podcasts just kind of out of respect, you know, because they're like my friends or something. But like your stuff is like actually interesting.
Thank you.
Like I think the last one that was that? I'm not sure if it was a podcast. I think it was on YouTube about that one of your friends punched you in the face.
Oh yeah. That one, I still haven't talked to that friend again. Yeah.
But I just you know what
He
I
was
like
on
about you,
acid.
Ty. Yeah, I know. I haven't done acid.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I haven't done it. I get acid in my stomach with heartburn and stuff, but that's about it. I feel weird. Okay, so we're gonna pull Ty's first card, and it is going to be bingo. Perception, and that's just kind of like what we were talking about. Like the way that you perceive things are so just like straightforward. You get straight to the point. You don't pussyfoot around. Is that the word pussyfoot?
Yes.
Like you just get straight to the point. So what do you think about this card? Perception, the way you perceive things. Do you have anything?
I think it goes with a lot of what I'm working on right now as far as mentally, because I've been listening a lot to on YouTube. There's the teachings of this particular metaphysical, like it's Florence Scovel Shinn is the woman's name, and she was a metaphysical author. She died in, I think it's 1945. And a lot of what she teaches is based on how your perception kind of shapes the world around you. So it really is the way you go at it rather than things that are quote unquote happening to you, because things don't really happen to you. A lot of times we're drawing what we are. And so even though you think like this is what I want to attract, you're not going to attract what you want. You're going to attract what you are. So you've got to change your perception of not only yourself, but the world around you in order to get what it is you actually want, or to live the way that you want to live, which is more what I'm trying to do right now.
And that's pretty interesting, because when I was teaching 5th grade, I was kind of forced to read and teach this book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you know? And I was like, oh my God, they're giving me this other curriculum that I have to teach on top of everything. And I was like, just complaining and bitching. But once I started reading it, it's almost like what you're saying is it's about like being in control of like your own actions and not allowing other people's actions to change your actions or your perception. Like you think what you think, and don't let other people's actions change your point of view in a negative way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that's a good thing. Like, that's what I'm learning too, because that's one of the things, one of the quotes was, I don't remember, so don't quote me exactly, but it's, a man can't control his world if he can't control himself.
Right.
So, you know, it's like you can't be in control if you let yourself
just
fly off the handle or go with your emotions. You know, sometimes even though it feels better in the moment to react the way you want to react. And also we're taught, you know, and this is just from my own thing, not from those teachings, but like we're taught that there's supposed to be some sort of like pride in like going off on another person, when sometimes it's like better to be more in control. And it even is a better look to the outside world when it's kind of like, well, I like the way they handled that. Yeah, a kid might look at you and be like, well, I would have hit that person or whatever.
Yeah.
But another adult in a lot of cases is going to respect more like the restraint rather than just giving in, you know?
And then sometimes you just don't understand like what other people are going through. Yeah, so that's an awesome part. But let's move on. There's so much more I want to know about Thai Rivera. Okay, let's do this. Here we go, Ty. Are you ready? And it is reaping what you sow, putting in. And like, do you feel like, okay, so we're talking about perception and stuff. Do you feel that people are as calm with you now that you're a little bit, because you say you don't drink anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm not AA sober, but I am like, I don't like drinking anymore. And when it comes to like that particular card, well, 7 is my favorite number, so that might have something to do with it.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that like when it comes to the reaping and investing, I feel like that's more of a career thing for me, because for a long time I've been putting into stand-up. You know how it is, especially in the beginning, you know, and I started in LA. That's where I really started. Technically, I started in Phoenix, but I wasn't there long enough to like consider myself a Phoenix comic.
Where are you from originally?
Arizona.
Right? Arizona.
Yeah, okay. And so when I started comedy, I was in Phoenix. And so I've been doing comedy for 17 years now. And it's taken a long time of just like investing and putting myself into everything and not really getting a lot back. And then now I'm finally starting to really see change and see things come back to me.
Like, tell me, like, give me some examples. Because, I mean, you had some pretty good stuff. Like, I was actually asking my sister, I'm like, have you seen him? He was on Comedy Central and he was doing all these crazy, amazing things. So, like, what do you have happening now? Like, what's going on?
It's just a lot more in volume and around this city. Like, when I'm here in Las Vegas, I work a lot and it's great. But for a long time, the thing was I would get the TV stuff here and there, and that was definitely great. And then I worked with Joe Coy for a while. But being a gay comic that's as out there as I am and as willing to be 100% honest about, like, what the gay experience is or what my particular experience is with the gay community. Because, like, the gay community, the way they want you to paint it is like it's always this perfect thing, you know, and being gay is just great all the time and stuff like that. And being gay is great, you know, but it's also, there's certain things that the gay community doesn't really want to acknowledge. Like when I talk about the racism within the gay community, or I talk about like some of the opportunities that you don't get because you're not presenting a particular stereotype, which used to bother me. Now it doesn't bother me anymore. But it's just like, you know, with that would hold me back quite a bit because people didn't necessarily want me to say that. So it was like I wouldn't get certain opportunities because I wasn't going to toe the line as far as gay went.
And you know, I'll tell you what, and I've talked to a few comedian friends. I kind of feel like it's our responsibility to share that with people. You know what I mean? Because I've had some comedians say, stop being so Mexican. I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm Mexican American. Second of all, how are people going to know who we are? And, you know, if they're not taking like a college class on Mexican American history and, you know, because honestly, Ty, a lot of the stuff that you talked about, I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I don't know. I learned, I mean, even though it's funny and you're joking and you're playing around, but it's educating as well. Like comedians, I mean, we joke around a lot, but it kind of plants a seed into people's heads. Like I'm forgetting his name because I've been drinking a little bit, guys. San Juan.
Edwin.
Yes. I think it was last month or the month before I saw him at the LA Comedy Club here in San Antonio. I mean in Las Vegas. And he was talking about being Filipino and talking about how the Filipinos and the Mexicans kind of, you know, worked together during the time of, you know, Cesar Chavez. And so, but he was, of course, making it funny because he's a comedian. But in my mind, I was like, wow, that's awesome that he's even talking about that because a lot of people don't know about that, you know? So I do feel like we kind of, if people are not going to college and learning about certain cultures or lifestyles, you know, whatever, who's gonna teach them?
Well, you know, between like the way that comedy works and Google, people can actually learn a lot if they're paying attention. Like that's one of my things. Like when I talk about my trans friends, some people say that I talk about trans people in a negative light. It's just because I've hung out with so many trans people at this point that I can give a more honest version of it than when you're going to hear. And then when you mention like, you know, that where's anybody going to learn about being Mexican American if they don't take a college course or something like that? Well, if you pay attention to a lot of that stuff isn't teaching the real experience anyway. It's teaching a white person's version that they wrote down in a book from doing research and stuff. And we're not really about research. Like as people, research isn't the best way to learn people.
We're just sharing our experiences.
Yeah.
So, because I'm going to be honest, I don't know too much about the LGBT. I don't know all the letters. You know, I don't, but I learned from like you or, you know, from my other friends, you know. And I have a real close friend right now. He's actually a housemate in San Antonio. So I learned a lot from him also, you know, but it's just from getting to know people. You know what I mean? And,
and if we can make it fun, then it doesn't really feel like learning, which I'm sure you know from being a teacher. Like if you make things fun, then people are more likely to take them in. Yeah. If you just try to teach, then people are like,
all right, guys, so we're going to pick the next card. Are y'all ready? Okay, here we go. Let's see how interesting Thai Rivera is. And if he wants to share his life with the world. You know what? I'm just going to pull it off the top.
Do it.
Bum, bum, bum. The mistress. I mean, the empress.
The
empress is...
You watch so many novellas.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like, the mistress.
The mistress.
Okay, well, here we are. Anything else? My legs have been crossed the whole interview, so I think that's kind of
I feel like I have to cross my... This is a fucking competition. You notice I'm like, I'm crossing mine more. You know? Oh my God. Strong feminine energy. Where'd that come from? I don't know. When did you find out that you had all this feminine energy? Like, were you young? Were you like, how young were you?
First, to start off, to answer the question about the feminine energy, I have 3 sisters, and my mom was the one that was really in charge of raising us because my dad was working all the time. You know, my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
But that's not why you're gay, though.
No, but that explains quite a bit of the feminine energy and some of the... Because you pick up the mannerisms of what you're seeing when you're young, you know? And I had no other boys around, and my dad, like I said, worked a lot, so it wasn't like I spent a lot of time with him.
Okay, you're going to think I'm crazy. But sometimes I feel like they're a whole other gender. I mean, is that stupid?
Well, that's like that thing is one thing I've heard people say before is like they'll see a really effeminate gay guy.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, you know, why does he act like that? And my answer to that is always like, he's not acting. That's him being the real him. Yes. You know what I mean? He's not. The thing is, he's not trying to act masculine. Right. And so, like, I do agree that it's its own thing, at least mentally.
Because you can't say like, oh, he's acting like a girl or he's behaving like a girl. Because 80% of the female population is not like, oh my God. I mean, yeah, you have those that are like, oh my God. Yeah. But then there are like some men are extremely feminine, like 100%. You know what I mean? And so I'm just like,
and it's
interesting. Like I don't know what to think about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can't really blame today's culture because if you remember back even when we were young and things weren't like they are now with the Kardashians and stuff like that, you still had those gay men that were just out there like that, and there were less of them because it wasn't really accepted by society, so people knew to suppress that. But if you remember, you still had that. Yeah, that was horrible back then, but look at where we are now. It's great, and I'd rather look at the progress than where we were. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I when my cousin had a little boy the same time that I had my son, and I remember his son. He was about 3 years old, and we already knew.
Yeah.
The whole family knew. He did not even know. Because he was so young, he hadn't hit puberty.
Yeah.
But that was a little girl.
Yeah.
Like, we knew it. And you know what I mean? And so that's why I know when people say, like, oh, it's a choice. Bullshit.
Yeah.
How does a 3-year-old has no idea?
Yeah. But just to wrap that one part up about, like, me. When I was younger, I remember being different, and I remember my sister telling me, my older sister told me that boys have to be with girls and girls have to be with boys. And if you're a boy and you don't like girls, then you're a girl. And so in my head, because I wasn't going to tell her at that time that that's the way I felt, I already knew I liked boys, and I was like, well, then I must be a girl. So until I was probably about 14 or 15, in my head, I was always thinking, I'm going to have to be a girl one day, you know, because I know that I like boys.
Yeah.
And so, like, that might also be something to do with the feminine energy.
Anyways, let's move on. Okay, here comes the next one. Are you guys ready? Bum, bum, bum. I can't see. Yes, actually, this is a good card. You know, a lot of people think this one is like creepy just because it's death. That doesn't mean you're gonna die. Which I've had to, but it just I know it's not negative, but every time I pull it, I'm like, you know. So it just means like change, like you said, monumental change. Like, what kind of changes do you have going on in your life right now?
A lot. That's probably the most perfect card.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm just learning to accept that things aren't like that things don't have to be that the way that they've always been, and you don't necessarily have to be consistent. Like, I think a lot of people screw themselves because they believe that you have to be a consistent person and continue to be, and also based on what the world thinks of you. Like with me, some people think of me as like arguing on social media and, you know, like a really strong personality, and all that's true. But moving forward, what is it I'm looking to do? Lately, I've been spending less time on social media, and that's just been a natural part of change. I also am learning to accept that I don't know if I'm meant to be in a relationship like long term. Like when I was younger, I was always looking for that.
Yeah.
You know, like you're supposed to find your one love of your life and settle down and, you know, like that kind of stuff. And now I feel like I'm getting happier and happier just being alone.
But what about when you're 80?
Well, I'm sure I'll have people to take care of me. Well, if you do, first
you can
off,
find another. You'll find somebody at 80.
But first off, if God loves me, I won't live to be 80.
Oh, don't say that.
I don't want to be 80. I don't want to be that old. You know what I mean? And not because of vanity reasons, but just it doesn't look like a happy quality of life.
And you're kind of right. I don't know who's gonna wipe my butt. You know what I mean? But
yeah, but that's not what I'm looking for. You know, so there's that. But then there's also the fact that I feel like if you are a good person and you live a good life, that'll figure itself out and you'll have people to take care of you.
Right.
You know, so I don't really think I have to worry about, you know.
Nurses, sexy nurses, male nurses.
I hate you so much. And, you know, just because I plan to be single doesn't mean that I won't eventually be able to have a kid. Oh, that's true. But yeah, monumental change just in general. Like, that's what's happening right now. I've been sleeping a lot, working out, going to the gym, doing like I'm supposed to.
I know, you're looking super sexy.
Thank you. But the sleeping part, I feel almost like when I'm sleeping right now, some people will think I'm crazy, but whatever. I feel almost like when I'm sleeping right now, like it's just a bunch of downloads and updates happening, like what happens for your computer. And so I feel like right now, even though I've been sleeping more than I probably
your mind
want
is
to,
still boom, boom.
Yeah, everything. And so I'm integrating changes too, you know, so all of that's just happening while I'm asleep. And so that's an important part. As long as I'm getting everything done that I have to get done to pay my bills, to keep my career moving forward, then I'm worrying less and less about how much I sleep or like what hours my day works.
I thought you said wearing less and less, but he said worrying less and less.
Well, you can't wear any less than naked.
I know. But talking about wearing less and less, let's talk about
that's how I'm sleeping.
Let's talk about your fitness routine. Because in the last few years, I've been seeing some of your pictures. Y'all did like that underwear show and you were like all buff. I was like, let me see. I was like, nah, he photoshopped those little abs in. Like, what do? You work out every day? Or like tell me you're like, okay, I'm like
5 to 6 days a week is how much I work out.
What?
5 days of it is cardio and weights. And then 6 days is pretty much weights are guaranteed on those 6 days. But, then Sundays, I've just changed it because I used to work out on Sundays and now I've changed it where Sundays is just 24 hours of rest, just complete rest. And
because God said so.
God said so. And also it's
no sexiness on
cheat day on Sunday. And when I say cheat day, I'll eat anything I want.
Oh, I was like, whoa. You talking about this? Is your boyfriend out?
All right, girl, I'm so single.
No, I don't believe it.
I hook up, but even that's getting ready to come to.
You're just like,
that part, like I've had so much sex in my life, and especially more recently, it's gotten ridiculous. I don't know why, but it's been ridiculous. Yeah, it's, I do jokes about it because it's gotten a bit out of hand, but it's fun, but I'm ready to be done with it. I want to attract what I want, like I said, and I want to be what I want. You know what I mean?
What kind of guys do you like?
That.
You like guys like you that are like sexy and like buff and
I like confident guys more than anything else. Like for me, that doesn't really matter. I'm not worried about money either, like, you know, them having money or whatever. But
at least enough for them to take care of themselves.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
You.
Yeah, like in that way, yeah, that's the minimum. You got to be able to do that. Outside of that, I'm not worried about anything, you know. But like confident, because a lot of guys will get with me and they'll either be too slow in their approach and not know how to just like, you got to move with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
we don't got time.
Exactly.
Time is short and life is short.
Yeah, jump in and let's see how you work.
This is not high school, you know, where you have like 4 years to like meet somebody. No, we're in our adulthood. It's like bada bing, bada boom, let's go.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So just jump in, be a part of my life, and then
we'll figure it out. Is this gonna work or not? You know, within the first week or two. Do I like this guy or no?
Yeah, especially when you get to a certain age.
Yeah,
like you should.
Like you already have like all your little quirks about you, and you know what you like about people and what you don't like about people.
Yeah,
like when you're young, you might meet a few guys, and eventually, after about 10 guys, you're like, you know what? I think I don't like guys who chew with their mouths open.
You know
what I mean?
But it takes
about 10 dates
anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I like guys. I don't want that.
It was kind of cute at first, but now.
Yeah, it was
What's
fun.
all the hitting about?
I was like, oh, it's like a novela. I was like, oh, the more they hit me, the better I love.
Yeah, no, I don't need to get thrown around the living room anymore.
Exactly. But it's true. Like as you get older, you already know what you like and what you don't like. When you're younger, you have to date a few people, figure it out, you know. Yeah. But absolutely. Oh my God, your cards are so fucking awesome. Okay, another one. Y'all guys ready? Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And here we go. That's so weird. I feel like we talk about stuff and then it's like, this is what you were talking about. So let me pull this. Mm-hmm. Are you Catholic? You're Catholic. You were raised Catholic.
I was raised Catholic.
Are you Catholic now or are you... Let me say that again. Are you Catholic now or are you non-denominational? Which means you can do whatever you like.
Or one of the hundreds of other denominations.
Yes.
Are you Catholic or other?
You're either Catholic or, according to Irma, you're either Catholic or you're nothing. Yes. You're either Catholic or you're
non-denominational. I'm Catholic because I was just raised Catholic and I like the music, you know.
No, but you don't.
No. If
you don't like, nobody likes you.
Gloria. It just depends on my mood. But if it's a Sunday and like I was drinking the whole night before, I'm definitely going to a Baptist church because I still got my buzz, and you know those people be dancing and shit.
I hate her. I hate her.
I hate me too. No. So what are you what are you? Like, when it comes
you
to
got real Mexican.
I know.
So what are you?
What are you? Like, what do you like?
What are you, eh?
What kind of God do you got? What kind of God? Let's talk about your God. Talk about your God.
No, I actually was raised Catholic, and I will still say that I'm Catholic because it makes my mom happy. But technically, I'm no religion.
Yeah.
I believe in God, and I look at religion, like for me it's like a candy, you know, like God is the candy and religion is the wrapper. So
yeah,
the candy comes to you in the wrapper and one day you rip off the wrapper and throw it away.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
I like that. Yeah, I think this one once is calling me. He's like a card of healing and recuperation. So let me think. What is going on in your life? I feel like everything's positive right now. Are you healing from anything?
I'm definitely healing. I had, you know, I was engaged when I first moved out here, and I'm still getting past that. You know, like we broke up. It's gonna be.
I remember that. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was a pretty bad breakup too.
Yeah, and it's gonna be 2 years. He broke shit. There was, I had to call the police, which I didn't want to call the police, but it was that kind of situation where.
Is that when everything kind of changed? Like, is that when he stopped drinking? And
No, I already wasn't drinking before that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was drunk when that happened,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't drinking and I hadn't been drinking, you know. I've drank in between, you know, but I never had a problem with like too much drinking or anything like that. But
Was he a big drinker? Like he drank a lot? Or...
Yeah, but he didn't tell me that. In the beginning, he told me that he used to drink when he was younger, but he had no interest in it anymore and that kind of stuff. And then, like, I started noticing more, and there were a lot of, like, red flags that I didn't pay attention to just because I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that now. But yeah, I'm like, and that's part of the reason that I was, you know, it's kind of part of the reason that I've been as promiscuous as I've been since our breakup was because like I was very good while I was with him and I didn't cheat and I like, you know, had started to change my ways even before that. And I have a history in sex work and I've, you know, like just been kind of out there when it comes to that kind of stuff for a long time. And then when we broke up, like the last two arguments we had, like, you know, he called me a slut, he called me a whore, he was like, you know, always saying stuff like that. And so, like, there, I think there was a part of me, well, not I think, I know that there was a part of me that has done a lot of stuff that I've done recently because it was that kind of like, well, if somebody's going to call me that anyway, then I might as well be that. And even though maybe in your head you think you're proving a point to that person, you're not really.
Even though that person doesn't even really know what you're doing.
Yeah, and they're not
it's
around.
always like you're just telling yourself, like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, and
fuck it.
So really, you're just hurting yourself in a way, and trying to prove a point to somebody that's not even there.
Oh, Ty. That is, it kind of makes me a little bit sad because like you were like in love with this person, went to shit, and just a little while ago you're just like, I think I just want to be by myself forever.
Yeah.
Like that, it was that bad.
Well,
that you think like there is nobody out there to be like your life mate.
No, that's not. See, that's why it's not like a bad thing. Like all of this is just like where I've come to. But like for me, it's not a bad thing or a sad thing because it's not at all a negative. It's just like I don't feel
a realization.
Yeah, and I don't feel like there's any real pressure to try to be in something. If I meet somebody and they just happen to be perfect for me, I'm not gonna pass that up. It's not like I decided.
Like, right. It's not like you're gonna be like, no.
Yeah, but I'm also not actively looking for it. But I feel like I've had to do a lot of healing since that breakup because nobody's ever been like. He was so great to me when we first got together, but nobody's ever been, and I've been through some shitty, physically abusive relationships too. And, you know, with him, that last night got crazy or whatever, but he wasn't physical, you know, outside of that. Yeah, he wasn't physically abusive at all. But I have been through that in the past. But just because of the things that he said to me and the way that he said them, nobody's ever been meaner to me than he was. You know, so it did take a lot of healing on that. And that all happened within 2 real arguments. You know, like
and that was just the final straw.
Yeah, and it was just 2 real arguments. And understand, I've been through some shitty relationships. And I don't hold it against him. It's not like I hate him or I'm mad at him or anything, but just this is just the truth of what it was.
Does he still live here in Las Vegas?
No, he's in Utah, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm done. If I can't have you, I'm going to Utah.
Well, the only reason he could afford to live here was because of me anyway.
There you go. Children. Oh my gosh, that's some deep shit right there. Okay. But moving on. Let's see what kind of deeper shit we can get into with this fucker right here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and boom! New relations.
What did I just say?
But did I not say that we talk about something and then I feel like the cards are like fucking with this. They're like, what were you talking about? Oh, here you go. Right? It's crazy. New relations. Okay, so we were just talking about relationships, like romantic relationships. But what about, let's see, what about friendships? We talked about friendships.
Like work relationships.
We're talking business relationships. What relationships with God? We've talked about all kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
Like what relationships have we not talked about already?
Yeah.
Wow, God, We've hit like your whole life for here.
We've done a retrospective. It's been a lot.
That's insane. I think, yeah, so this, let's see, maybe we can pick another one. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Willpower. Willpower. What are you? I can already tell. Tell me.
I'm all about willpower and self-discipline, especially right now. With my diet, especially, I've never been more on it in the way that I eat. Like, I track everything. It's also, when it comes to work, I'm starting to write more, and I'm starting to be more disciplined even in my writing. Because the thing with stand-up comedy, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but when you're first starting out in stand-up comedy, you write a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I just wish I had places to do this. You know, I wish I had more opportunities to actually work on this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you start getting a lot of stuff in stand-up, and because, you know, even though, like, I talked about work being up and down at different points and stuff like that, I've always been able to do a lot of sets.
Mm-hmm.
But you're doing a lot of sets, and then you get to a point where you stop writing.
And then you just think like, oh, I'll remember.
Yeah, and you just keep doing shit. And then you're like, well, why don't you recapture that energy from the beginning when you wanted to write and you wanted the opportunity, and now you have the opportunity and you can do both because the writing is on you. So willpower, I think, is important in every sense.
So are you doing a lot of writing right now? Like a lot?
I'm starting to do a lot more. Awesome. It's a discipline you have to get back into, though, or for me. Maybe
so do you like give yourself a schedule, like, oh, I have to do. Like, do you actually, because I've actually known comedians who are like, I have to write at least 30 minutes, an hour a day.
That's what I need to do. I've started just in the baby steps of like starting to write again. So I need to move more into that discipline. But the way my brain works and the way that I work is, you know, that'll end up getting done kind of right away. I also need more willpower and self-discipline when it comes to recording my videos. For a minute, I was recording videos daily. And that maybe is a little bit too grueling of a schedule when you're doing everything, because I do everything. You know, I'm writing the stuff that I'm talking about. When I do write stuff, I'm the one that's having to do the research. I'm the one that's editing. I'm the one that's recording. Like, everything is on me. So sometimes a video a day is too much to ask.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, you know, and so
probably just like once a week.
You know, I think if I can do one every other day, then I think I can.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
But, you know, it's also.
I mean,
what else am I doing with my days?
If you're talking, yo, that's true.
Besides working out, you know what I mean? And the way I see it right now, maybe not at other times the same way it wasn't for me, but the way I see it now is if I put in a solid 8 hours between working out, writing, and doing videos, a solid 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Then I'm working the same as anybody else is, but I'm working for myself.
What are your numbers right now, like on YouTube? Are you on TikTok and all those?
I don't do YouTube. I don't do TikTok. Yeah, I don't do TikTok. Just I have one, but
you haven't done it. Yeah.
I haven't figured it out, and also
I haven't figured my niche. Everybody has to have like a niche. And I'm still stuck with that.
Yeah, and YouTube, I think I'm at 3,200 like subscribers. I think that's what I'm at YouTube. Yeah. And then but YouTube is the kind of thing where if I put out a good video, then I'll get a fair amount of followers.
Right.
And so I feel like YouTube can be a very honest read of what it is I'm doing. You know, and then also when I'm more consistent with it, I'll get more followers, I'll get more views. Sometimes my views will be as low as like 85 to 100 views. Yeah. And then sometimes, you know, like I'll be working at an average of like 500 to 1,000. Yeah. And then, you know, sometimes I'll go crazy and do like a 20 or 30,000 view video.
Your YouTube videos are always awesome. You always have something interesting to say. Oh my God, Thai. Thank you so much. Like, I am so flattered. I'm so happy that you were able to come and do this with us today, you know, or this evening.
Let me pick one more card.
Okay, you ready?
We'll close it out on this. However it goes, it goes. This card right here is calling to me. Oh, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Check that out. Let's see what it is.
And what was I just doing? I'm telling you, these cards are playing with us. Usually we pull the card and we read from them, but it's like we're talking and they're listening to us and they're like, we know what you were talking about. And I was just like, hey, Ty, thank you so much. I was like giving him my respects. You know, you're the bomb. And isn't that insane?
Yeah.
But that's been like all night. But do you think there has something else that you could probably add to this that you're thinking that I'm not reading maybe?
Nope, I think that's us wrapping it up.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Guys, we were with Thai Rivera tonight. Thai Rivera in the house.
The
Thank you
absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
My face must look so dumb.
Thank you for having me.
I want to do that again. Can you do it one more time?
This is Thai Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
My face still looks just as stupid. But I just love it. I love it. Thank you, Ty. Cheers.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
As I break the stat. All right.
He's just drinking water.
I'm losing my
gentlemen.
authoritative respect.
Can't push me over. Don't need it.